Like you, I listened as the story broke about Queen Elizabeth dying this week. And of course, she's been queen longer than I've been alive. And what was interesting was listening to commentators talk about her faith, which is not what you always hear, in radio programs or news broadcasts, but they were talking about her faith. And a few years ago, there was a book that was written about the Queen. I think it was for her 90th birthday, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was before that. Here's the cover of the book. And I love the title of it, The Servant Queen and the King That She Serves. The Servant Queen and the King that she serves. And that was telling us both that she had this idea that her job was to serve the people. It was not to be served, but to serve the people. That's a very Jesus kind of idea. That's what he says, at the Last Supper. He says, the Son of Man, and before that even in the Gospels, the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. But then when she talked about the King that she serves, or the title talked about the King that she serves, she was talking about Jesus. That she saw her role as a servant first to the people, but ultimately, truly, to Jesus, who she was trying to emulate in living her life. She wasn't just a fan, she was striving to be a follower. And that's true for all of us. Anyway, I was listening this week, I went looking to see, some of the things that she had said in her Christmas addresses. So every year at Christmas, she would give an address to the British people. And in her later life, she began doing more and more to testify to her faith. And I want you to hear this from 2012. So she's in her 80s, and I want you to hear what she had to say to the British people about Jesus and about serving. Take a listen.
At Christmas, I'm always struck by how the spirit of togetherness lies also at the heart of the Christmas story. A young mother and a dutiful father, with their baby, were joined by poor shepherds and visitors from afar. They came with their gifts to worship the Christ child. From that day on, he has inspired people to commit themselves to the best interests of others. This is the time of year when we remember that God sent his only Son to serve, not to be served. He restored love and service to the center of our lives in the person of Jesus Christ. It is my prayer this Christmas Day that his example and teaching will continue to bring people together to give the best of themselves in the service of others.
I love that. The picture she paints of Christ who came to serve and not to be served. And she's calling the people in the British Empire to do the same. To not simply serve or to be fans of Jesus, but to be followers of Jesus. Now, if you're going to be a servant for Christ, that's going to require some measure of selfless sacrifice. May not be a huge sacrifice. It may be a pretty small sacrifice on a daily basis. But, to do this requires us to give up something. We're going to give up some of our time, some of our resources maybe. We're going to give up maybe even some of our blood. 2 weeks ago, we had our blood drive here. And at the blood drive, just to come and give blood, you're going to spend 45 minutes, and the process is like this. The part I hate the most is when they prick your finger. I don't know why, but that is always the most painful part to me. A little prick, and then they take the blood to make sure you can give blood that day, that your hemoglobin or your iron levels or something are fine. And then you're going to go and you're going to lay down on a bed and a gurney, and they're going to poke you with another needle. And you're going to squeeze the rubber ball, and you're going to hopefully get out a pint of blood that you're going to give to help somebody else to live. And so that whole process, about 45 minutes, plus the time to get to the church and the time to get home. So whatever that is for you, for me, it's about an hour and a half altogether, hour and 15 minutes. And so, when I think about that, I'm like, I always have 10,000 other things I could be doing with that hour and a half or hour and 15 minutes. And I think I don't really like to get pricked, and I don't like to get poked, but I do want to do something that will help other people. And this is such a simple thing to do. And I'm thinking, Jesus, this is one small way for me to say, one tangible way for me to say that I want to follow you today. This is one more way for me to be not a fan, but a follower. And so we come and do that. On those 2 days of the blood drive, Monday and Tuesday of that week, 999 of you, actually a few more, but 999 were able to successfully give a pint of blood across our various locations. And that's pretty awesome, 999, but there were 34,000 people who worshiped and watched the sermon that weekend. And I'm not chastising you. I'm just saying, I know it's not everybody's deal. Not everybody can do that. Some people faint when they see blood. I'm just saying, we have lots of opportunities. That may not be the one that you'd want to take, but I want to say to the 999, way to go. That was awesome. I want to say to the rest of us, if at all possible, maybe once a year we're going to try to get blood. And maybe we give 4,000 units instead of 999. By the way, we couldn't do that because they were overwhelmed with the 999 who came. It was pretty awesome. But I'm just saying, we think about, I'm a follower, and here's an opportunity, and there's a need, and I'm going to do something about it. And let me just remind you our memory verse. Let's say it again, James 2:17. Faith without works is dead.